Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking college hoops, heading to the Big Ten where Northwestern is heading to Illinois. It's President's Day week, which means we've got a nice little code for 20% off the entire site of picksandparlays.net. Use the code USA. The number 5, Illini, minus 13 at home here. The total is 143 and a half, and Illinois has been really solid lately, both top 25 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And then you've got Northwestern 6 and 12 straight up, 7, 9, and 1 against the number. And I should note that Illinois, pretty solid against the spread as well, 12 and 7 against the spread this season. We've got Nick from the Insider's Room to help break this one down and kind of dive into this big spread here. Nick, what do you think of this spread? 13's pretty large when we're talking about conference opponents, I'd say.
I think so too. Northwestern is desperate for a win here. I don't think it's going to win this game outright or anything. Obviously, Illinois is the much better team, but I do think it's going to come in a little bit complacent here. It's going to leave the back door open just enough for this hungry Northwestern team to sneak in through down the stretch. Northwestern, it most recently got crushed by Rutgers, and it actually lost to the Fighting Illini last month. It was 81-56. So, this is a revenge game as well here. The Wildcats, as you mentioned, they're just 3 and 11 in conference play. They average 73.2 points per game. They allow 72.1. So the margin of error most nights is really razor thin. You mentioned that Illinois is ranked number 5. It's currently won 5 in a row, but it needed overtime to beat Nebraska last time out. It was a 14-point favorite in that one. Previous to that, the Fighting Illini had won 4 straight against the spread. They definitely came up short covering that 14-point spread versus the Huskers in that OT victory last time out. And so they actually have 2 overtime victories in their last 3 games. And so this is getting tougher and tougher for this team to maintain this level here. And so I do think that Illinois is running out of gas here, Chelsa. And I think that the much hungrier Wildcats, they're going to keep this one competitive. As far as the spread is concerned on this one, I'm not calling for an outright upset, but I do think that Northwestern can keep this one a lot more competitive than what this spread would suggest.
Here's the thing with Northwestern. Yeah, they've lost 11 straight, and that looks really bad on paper. But you've got to consider the strength of the conference. Big Ten, pretty solid in basketball this season. And if you look at the game before that horrible losing streak started, they actually beat Ohio State, which is crazy. That's a really solid Ohio State team. Granted, it was at Northwestern. And this is a little different going against a really solid Illinois squad that's probably rounding into shape heading into March. I think the key is the spread here. And I tried to look at some of the numbers. Illinois, 1 and 3 as favorites of 10 to 16 points. So I think when you're talking about spreads that big, that's something you've got to look at. But also something interesting I noticed. Last meeting, Illinois, as you mentioned, won 81-56 as 6.5-point favorites on the road. But in that game, Northwestern blew a huge lead. They were up 43-28 at halftime, and Illinois actually didn't score a single field goal in the last 5 minutes of that game. So I'm just wondering if they get any kind of offense, in the last 5 minutes of the first half, and they're not sleepwalking through the first half, if they're going to blow them out, because this is a really good team that's capable of doing that. And then also looking at a total, that game went under the total by 10 points, but as I mentioned, there was a big lull in scoring for Illinois, who's generally a solid shooting team. Any leanings on a total of 143.5?
Well, as far as the total is concerned, I like the under here. I just don't think that Northwestern can afford to turn this into a shootout, obviously, and hang with Illinois here. Each team played to an under in their last game, and as you mentioned, they played to an under the last time they played. And so, yeah, I think this trend of unders is going to continue. And so as far as the total is concerned, I'm going to go with the under.
And Northwestern actually 2-0 to the under in games when they're double-digit underdogs. A little nugget to end our little segment. That's going to do it for our college hoops talk here on Picks and Parlays. Great stuff from Nick from the Insider's Room. As always, Nick, thanks for joining us.